Hey everybody, alright, so I was trying to get all of the Rainbow albums before I finished up with the last album, which unfortunately didn't happen. So, we're going to talk about Finyl Vinyl. Released in 1986, this was supposed to be the last Rainbow album. There is one more Rainbow album that came out after this, and that is only because Ritchie Blackmore was pushed very heavily by this label at the time to release it under Rainbow. He really didn't want to. He wanted to do it as a solo album. I don't remember the name of the album off the top of my head, but that is the one that I probably will be the longest getting to. There is an actual proper Rainbow album, one I am missing that I haven't been able to do before this, and that would be Sugar Plums. I forgot the name of the album now. Straight Between the Eyes? Something like that? Yeah. Anyways, moving on. This was a double vinyl for 86. That's slightly impressive. For those that don't know, 86, I believe, was the first year that CDs officially came onto the market. And even then, there was one more song on the cassette than there was on the double vinyl. And the original release of the compact disc was only a single compact disc, and it ended up cutting out two extra songs out of the deal. Yeah. So on the original vinyl, there was Tearing Out My Heart, which was included. And on the cassette, there was Street of Dreams. Don't know why they did it that way. Because if they went into a double vinyl, I think Street of Dreams should have fit. So it doesn't make sense that that was only included on the cassette. Because cassettes could go over 60 minutes back in 86. And Street of Dreams over Tearing Out My Heart. Like, Street of Dreams really should have been included over Tearing Out My Heart. I'm pissed that Street of Dreams is not on here. There are definitely songs on here I would have gladly given up for Street of Dreams. The other issue I have with this is the way they did the songs on here. I understand they wanted to represent 3 eras of Rainbow, essentially. And you can only pick from so many recordings that you may or may not have had back in those days. Recording live wasn't as easy as it is today. This album represents all 3 vocalists. You got Lynn Turner, you've got Ronnie James Dio, and you've got, crap, I can never remember the dude's name, the guy that was in between the two. Where is it? Graham Bonnet. Don't know why I can never remember Graham Bonnet's name. Most of this is Lynn Turner. Graham Bonnet got 2 tracks. Dio got 2 tracks. And to me, it's really a shame. I think they should have split it up more evenly if they could have, because that also means that it's mostly Lynn Turner songs that are on here, because it's not even like they have Lynn Turner doing other people's songs, you know? All right, let's get into the track listing. We got Spotlight Kid, I Surrender, Mistreated. Those made up side 1 of the first vinyl. Okay, cool. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Spotlight Kid. Rather hear Street of Dreams over that. I don't mind I Surrender. I Surrender is not bad. Mistreated. Then we're on to side two. We got and side one was, according to this, all Tokyo, Japan. Side two is starts with the B side, "Jealous Lover," which, as I said, B side to "Can't Happen Here." I like "Jealous Lover." I'm not big on the lyrics, but I like the music on it. The music on it is fantastic. The lyrics are kind of a little typical for the time. "Can't Happen Here." It's all right tune, I guess. "Tearing Out My Heart," whatever. "Since You've Been Gone," I love "Since You've Been Gone." "Since You've Been Gone" is such a good tune, man. I just love that. The drops down to that. Just that riff, man. It just got such a great groove to it. You just get up, you want to move and shake around. I love it. I will take the studio version over the live version on here. I don't like the way they sped it up, and something about the energy in it. Like, to me, this is a song that should have more groove to it. It should, have this is the type of song that, you want to be able to dance to, man. You want to be able to grind up on your lady or your gentleman if you're into that, or, whatever. You want to be able to, get out there and have a good time and dance and whatnot. And they speed it up just enough where it starts to lose that cohesion for danceability, which is a bit of a shame. If anything, I would kind of slow it down a little bit in that beginning, man. Just a couple beats just to get and then, when the drums kick in with then you get going on that good beat. You know what I'm saying, man? "Bad Girl" was a B-side that was released for "Since You've Been Gone." Dig the music on this one. The lyrics don't do anything for me. I don't dislike the lyrics, or I don't have an issue with the lyrics like I do with "Jealous Lover," but I don't really care about the lyrics on this one here. Then we get into the Difficult to Cure instrumental track. This one clocks in at 11 minutes and 15 seconds. It's Rainbow. I have no issues with long songs, but it really slows down this recording. Really does. Stone Cold really doesn't do much for me. Power doesn't do much for me. It's not that the songs don't do much for me. It's just the representation on here. It's really meh. Then we hit "Man on the Silver Mountain," which I was really upset to learn that Blackmore went and did overdubs on it. I mean, I understand why they do it, but geez, no, I want to hear the live version. Then you got "Long Live Rock and Roll," which I think is a great song. Really, really good song. One of those songs that should be played live. And "Man on the Silver Mountain" and "Long Live Rock and Roll" are the two Dio tracks that are on here. And then the album ends with "Weishelm," which is an instrumental. And then, like I said, the cassette had "Street of Dreams" on it. And as I mentioned, "Tearing Out My Heart" is a song that does nothing for me. Even though I don't have a live version on here for it, I went, listen to it. It does nothing for me. Now, here's something interesting. This is one of the rare ADD albums. You used to get a lot of AAD and a lot of Triple D. It was rare to find the album that was ADD, which means it was analog recorded. Obviously, it was analog recorded. It was, but it was digitally mastered and transferred and then put on here. So AAD would be like digital remasters, sort of, without the high quality before digital remasters were digital remasters. I don't have a remastered version of this one. Most of the Rainbow albums I've covered have all been remasters, with the exception of Richie Blackmore's Rainbow. and the Grand Bonnet album, actually. Neither of those I have. No, I do have that as a remaster. Sorry, it was one of the other ones. Joe Lynn Turner's first album I don't have as a remaster. Would I recommend this album? No, I wouldn't. There are songs on here I've heard other live renditions of I would recommend over this one. I think Finyl Vinyl, well, it doesn't, I can't find anything that specifically states it. I think Finyl Vinyl really was a contractual obligation to finish out with Polymore, maybe. At least that's who's listed on here as Polymore. I don't know if it was a different company elsewhere. Or sorry, not Polymore, Polydor. Not... In my trip for Rainbow and going through and exploring Rainbow, I really love Rainbow. I really do. I think Rainbow is one of the most underrated bands of all time. But this album is not gonna. It was not the way to end the legacy. It really wasn't. I think they would have been just better off releasing a greatest hits album and putting the B-sides into it instead of this. I really think that would have been the better way to go. But those are my thoughts, my views, my opinions. The whole way around, would I recommend going out and buying this album? No, I don't. I don't recommend it. If you can get it used, maybe, I'd pay maybe $5 for it. Tracy got it. Came with Tracy, so I don't know what she paid for it. And whatever she paid for it, that's fine. But for more than $5, I wouldn't. Like I said, there's the two B-sides that are on here, which are kind of cool. And then a couple of the live tracks aren't bad. But Man on the Silver Mountain, I hate to say it, there's better live versions on Dio solo stuff. Which really is a shame to say. Since You've Been Gone, I've heard better live renditions as well. And then kind of the rest of them just, they don't hit the way they should. Like I said, man, Street of Dreams really should have been on here instead. I think it would have been a much better choice. The only downside to Street of Dreams is how heavy keyboard it is. And I think a lot of the Joe Lynn Turner era might suffer because of that for live, because keyboards and organs live aren't bad. Keyboards live never quite work the same way as guitars do. You don't get that big crunchy push kind of thing. Oh. Anyways, folks, I'm done. Let me know what you think down below. Am I being too hard on this album? Am I not being hard enough? Am I just not really giving this a fair shake? I don't know. That's what the comments are for. On your way down there, you'll probably see a couple links, if I remember to put them up. Otherwise, folks, if you could please hit the like button, subscribe button, bell for notifications. That subscribe button is really important. I'm really trying to hit 200 before the end of the year, and I've only got 2 months left. Well, 3 months since I'm recording this beginning of October, I guess. Either way, I'd really like to try and hit 200 before the end of the year. So if you could hit that subscribe button, I'd appreciate it. Otherwise, folks, peace, love, take care, and I'll see you in the next review.